First of all, I want to say this clearly. I find it very shocking how people survive in Nigeria. That's my opinion. How do you guys survive in Nigeria? Because I've been here for 48 hours. All I've been asking myself is how do people survive?
You know, Nigerians, we are very strong and tough people. We adapt to any situation easily, and that's one of the major problems that we have because we tend to just fix into any situation
And move on.
and move on. So it's been a very big problem. A lot of people can't even feed anymore. You see people falling on the road. Sometimes you just see people coming into a restaurant, they want to eat, and when they see known faces, they try to dodge so that you will know. Okay, for example, when a guy comes into a restaurant and there's a beautiful lady standing there, he wants to buy probably something to just, eat for the meantime. Because the lady is there, he will hold on until they finish buying because he doesn't have enough money to buy what he wants
But that's
to buy.
stupid.
Some people, some people are like that. Out of
I'm
shame,
sorry, that's stupid.
very stupid.
That's even different from the problem. There's hardship in the country.
Yes,
You're in a restaurant.
yes,
You want to eat
yes,
because you saw somebody there
yes,
who's also there to eat.
yes.
You want to hide face.
Because you don't have enough money.
And
Probably you want to
so
eat without meat.
So you're trying to impress.
Impress the person.
Okay, you
Not
deserve
really impress,
no, you deserve to be hungry. If you go to a restaurant to get food, if I walk into a Booker street side, a corner restaurant
Yes.
to eat, and I see somebody there, then I pause so they can leave first for something I want to eat in my stomach. Maybe it's just me. I think it's ridiculous. It is stupid.
Well, some people are like that, so
They're trying to impress people.
yeah.
Anybody who make decision because of other people
Or what people will say.
is trying to impress people. Well, I just think it's stupid. The country is hard. There is hunger.
There's hunger. Yeah, there's hunger in the country. There's
And
real hunger.
it affects everybody.
Everybody, everything. You know, those days you can easily say, when people don't have money, they'll say, okay, fine, let's manage beans. You can't even cook that beans anymore. Okay, let's manage Gary. Gary is even so expensive that the poor people can't even afford to buy it like they used to buy before.
One of the first things I said when I got to Nigeria is there's just you rich or you poor. There's no middle class.
No middle class.
Because the hunger is hitting everybody. The cost of food is ridiculously so high that I ask myself, how do civil servants survive in this country? How do you afford to eat twice a day? Not 3 times, twice a day.
Twice a day, and that twice a day you're going to spend much. A lot of people are even owing. When you go to all these people that sell foodstuffs, you find out that they have a list, a book where they write, people's names and what they bought. Even then, they complain because when they buy and they don't bring, they don't pay. They don't. The one who is selling doesn't have money to go back to the market and buy stuff. So it's just like everybody's just moving. Should I say this? The whole situation is just moving this way. You buy from me, I buy from this person, I'm owing this person is owing this person, that person is owing. The owing is too much because of the hardship in the country. You see people now, like when you go to ShopRite, you find those days when you enter ShopRite, you see crowd, cars everywhere. To even buy, you have to be on the line. But these days, you go to all these malls and supermarkets and you just see few people.
No, you're talking about ShopRite. First of all, I went to ShopRite yesterday, right?
Yeah,
We bought a few stuff. It was like 100,000 naira.
yeah.
I know years ago, everything I bought in that store should be about 10,000-15,000. I know for a fact. Everything I bought in the store should be about 10,000-15,000. But still, again, ShopRite is not an average store for an average Nigerian. So if you go to ShopRite, you must have some money. I'm talking about
Those that have the money, like you said, there's no middle class. The ones we call the middle class, okay, fine, that goes to the ShopRite. You don't get to see them there anymore. How much more the poor people?
my concern is about the poor people. I wouldn't even use the word poor. My concern is about the average everyday Nigerian.
Nigerian.
I'm talking about the taxi drivers,
Okay.
the school teachers,
Okay.
the regular workers, the market women, the everyday Nigerian who goes to the regular market to buy regular foodstuff, who goes to the corner store to buy 2 sachets of milk and
Yeah.
egg.
Yeah.
How do they survive? Because now let's look at things from the minimum wage angle. How much is the minimum wage today? I think it's about
Is it 80? Is it 70 or
75 or
80,000?
80,000 thereabout, right?
Yeah,
Then from that money, you have to pay your rent, which my understanding, the cost of rent is skyrocketed, right? So
exactly.
let's say you make 75,000 a month. You live in a one room somewhere in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
You pay 20,000 for one room, which they tell
Which
me
is
is
not
more,
possible.
which is impossible.
Yeah,
So
it's
let's say you pay
impossible.
30,000 for a room. You left with about 40,000. You haven't paid
Transportation.
your utility yet.
Yeah.
No transportation to even go to work where you make your money.
Not medicals, not for medicals, not for
Let's
family
do this.
members,
Let's
not
stop
for.
all this. Let's stop this entire conversation. A bag of rice
It's about 100
is
plus.
more than the minimum wage of an average Nigerian.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, people. I don't think people understand how hungry they are anymore. Because if a bag of rice is more than the minimum wage, then there's something fundamentally wrong with the entire system.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
If I can afford to buy my family a bag of rice to feed them after working for 31 days, you can tell why the corruption rate, why the criminal activities in this country keeps going up. Because people have to survive. And from my experience, social media in general, present a different view of Nigeria
To the world.
to the world, even to some Nigerians,
Yeah.
than the reality. But again, it's confusing because there are people in Nigeria who can afford to buy Apple, the actual Apple to eat, but they
Which
carry
is
Apple
bad.
phones, right? So when you see things in social media, how people post lavish lifestyle, how they're living large and spending all this money, and you come on ground and see the reality of things, then you ask yourself, wait a minute, is this two different countries?
Countries.
So I call it the two different systems: the internet and social media system,
System.
and the reality, the people who actually trying to
Which are the
struggle
real
to
people.
live,
The
to
reality is the
find
real
food for their
people.
family on a daily basis. If you ask me, is it expensive for me as a person? For me, I'll be like, no, it's cheap. $10 is about 16,000. So when I buy a piece of chicken for 4,500, I'll be like, oh, that's cheap. But again, I'll pause and say, how much is 4,500? That's about almost $3. But I just bought the chicken wings for 4,500, right? But the whole chicken sells for $4 in America. So again, why are the things more expensive here than it is abroad? And the wages here is super, super low than what is being paid abroad. Because I see a lot of Nigerians will tell you, oh, Nigerians, these are not that bad. What about in America? What about in Canada? What about you comparing a country that pays, let's say, 100, less than $50 for minimum wage for a month, to countries that the minimum
75,
earner
75.
will make twice or three times your minimum wage a day. There should never be a comparison between
Oh,
Nigeria to any
any other
other Western
country.
countries.
Yeah.
Because the same money you make a month as a minimum wage earner here in Nigeria is what a minimum. Okay, let's say a retail worker makes 50,000 a month here.
Okay.
The same job you're doing, the same person doing the same job in a different country will make, when you do the conversion, more than 3 to 4 times of what you make a month in a day.
And that's why you find a lot of people traveling abroad, jacqueline, like they say. That is it. Because it's quite
It's
frustrating.
it is frustrating.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So I don't
Because,
see.
when people sit down to analyze Nigeria, the system, and everything, sometimes you just get depressed, and it's annoying. You understand? So you get depressed, and you get angry over some things. It's heartbreaking.
I always like to say, if I see a problem, I ask myself, what can be done better? What is the solution to this problem? What can we do to make it better?
Okay, so to you now, what can we do to make Nigeria better and make things to, maybe to normalize things? Is it possible?
It is possible.
A lot of people are saying it's not possible because it keeps eating deep. Are tired of talking. Nobody
No,
wants to
no,
talk anymore.
not just talking without action is the complete waste of time. But again, like you said earlier, people go to a restaurant, they want to eat, they see somebody there, they stop. It's the fake life we're trying to impress people. If most of us go back to farming, Because
Farming? Are you talking
nobody's
about
producing this
farming?
food. Nobody's producing this
No.
food.
Don't even go into farming because right
Why?
now, no, everybody is scared going to the farm.
Because of
Even those who,
insecurity.
yes, those who go to the farm at the end of the day when they come back, some of them don't get to come back. So let's not go into that.
No, but still there are different
People are
ways.
scared.
Farming has changed, and it's still changing. You can have a garden behind your house. We used to have a garden behind my house. My mother never went to the market for no kind of vegetables. Pepper, tomatoes, bitter leaf, pumpkin leaf. We had mango, pear. We have a real garden inside. This is in the city,
You know,
not in the village.
before you can have such,
Okay,
you must have a very big land to cultivate.
you don't actually need a big land to
You can't really
have
you
a
can't
small
rent
garden.
someone's house and decide to turn it into farming this thing. It's not possible.
No, I understand. This is not for everybody. I
Everybody,
get
okay,
it.
just for
Now,
few.
based on your situation,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
I'm talking about those who can.
Okay.
If you can have a little garden and produce some of the things you eat,
Yeah.
it will help and
Yeah.
save a little bit.
Exactly. Yes.
But I think to a large extent, the hardship, we just keep transferring it on each other. Because the moment somebody tells you I buy fuel for 1,000 per liter or 1,100 per liter, the bus driver increased the price of transportation
yes,
drastically. The market woman who sells Gary instantly tells you, Madam, Gary don't go up.
You go
Oh,
buy and
she increased the Gary, and this is the same Gary she had in the store for the past month.
Yeah.
You hear the same bag of rice you priced 10 minutes ago. They tell you it's 100,000. Why are you still in the store? They say, Madam, rice don't go up. Oh, it's now 105.
You're right.
I think to a certain level, I think sometimes I feel we lack, is it empathy on one another, or we really don't care about the next person. Everybody want to get off on the next person.
on the next
You just want to
person.
make it, and you don't care who you step on.
Yeah.
As long as you can provide for yourself, nobody else matters. If we all can stop, it starts from the top. It starts from the top and it comes down. But still, we can do better as individuals. We can make the changes one after the other. It begins with me. It begins with you.